Tippecanoe County leaders look to get some help from their congressmen on the first day of their trip to the nation's capital. This evening, several dozen members of the local delegation met with Representative Todd Rotika. News 18's Dan Klein is in Washington, D.C. and spoke with Rotika about why the visit is important and also grilled him about a recent controversial vote he made.
The conference room was packed as area leaders met with Congressman Todd Rotika Wednesday.
You can't do that on Skype. You can only do that through a two-way personal communication.
Though News 18 was not allowed to listen in on the 40-minute conversation, one of the biggest topics was the Wabash River corridor and making policy changes to allow the Army Corps of Engineers to work on riverbank stabilization.
I think everybody realizes that ecosystem restoration and bank stabilization really go hand in hand, and it's a common sense change that's probably long overdue.
This chamber group, made up of community leaders, came with ideas not only for themselves but for the entire nation that don't necessarily cost a penny.
They see your passion, they see how important it is to you. I think that does have an effect on lawmakers instead of just mailing them a piece of paper.
Of course, the issue looming in D.C. is the sequester. Automatic federal spending cuts triggered if Congress doesn't act by Friday, amounting to $85 billion this fiscal year. Rotika says it's going to happen, but President Barack Obama will have flexibility so necessities like firefighters or food inspectors won't have to be trimmed. For Republicans like Rotika, any tax hike is unpalatable and a deal breaker.
We just had a tax increase at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been palated. Now we got to get to the real cause of this debt, and that's the spending.
One of Congressman Rokita's recent votes here on Capitol Hill raised some eyebrows. Last month, he was one of a number of Republicans to vote against the bill providing $51 billion for Hurricane Sandy cleanup and relief efforts because it was not budget neutral.
If a disaster ever did come to my district or Indiana that wasn't already budgeted for, and that's what this is. The Sandy stuff was all new spending. You bet Todd Rotika would be offering and voting for solutions that would prioritize the emergency and what wasn't such an emergency anymore.
But when pressed about a hypothetical emergency relief bill for Indiana that would not be budget neutral, he declined to answer.
When any of that becomes a reality, I promise you I will do an interview with you.
But when focusing on the realities and issues at hand like the Wabash River corridor Wednesday, Lafayette area officials seemed pleased with the results. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Dan Klein, News 18.
The Lafayette delegation is scheduled to meet with both Indiana Senators Dan Coats and Joe Donnelly tomorrow. They will also be visiting the Georgetown Riverfront Development Area, which some officials hope can help model what a Wabash riverfront may look like.